Zeus vs Poseidon, Sky God versus Sea God. Welcome back everyone, it's me. Today we meet some godly rivals. This week's prompt is Thunder vs Tide, Sky vs Sea. Two brothers, one throne. Also, let us know which of these two powerful deities is your favorite. Is it the king of the Olympian gods or the god of the sea? After the fall of the Titans, the three brothers split the universe. Zeus wasn't perfect, not by a long shot. Well, Zeus and Poseidon each stood for different things. Zeus symbolized order, law, and divine kingship. His bolt struck down injustice or disobedience. Zeus was the king of gods and men. Every culture that worshipped him built temples and shrines to his glory. There are tons of archaeological finds that confirm this, like the Temple of Poseidon at Cape Sea. It stands on a cliff overlooking the sea and has one of the most amazing views in the entire world. So it's easy to see why the Athenians chose him as their patron god. In fact, we can say that Poseidon was as much a part of ancient culture as Zeus. They both appear in epic poetry, plays, vases, paintings, and countless works of art. Poseidon became known as a symbol of freedom and untamed emotion, whereas Zeus represented law and duty. His statue in Olympia was one of the ancient world's 7 wonders. Poseidon, meanwhile, had his own cities, including Corinth and Atlantis. In mythology, Zeus won. In the hearts of sailors and the trembling earth, Poseidon never lost. Which side of the debate are you on? Do you agree that Zeus had more power than his brother? Or do you think Poseidon was just as mighty? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. As always, thanks for watching. The latter was said to have been founded by Poseidon, after he competed with Athena for the right to become its patron deity. But we can't talk about Poseidon without mentioning his sculptures. You to find them near harbors, and they always showed him emerging from a rock with his trident held high. Meanwhile, Zeus's statues dominated temple floors. We know that Zeus was worshipped as a universal ruler, but how did ancient people view Poseidon? Poseidon stood for the power of nature, unpredictable and untamable. Farmers prayed to him for bountiful crops. Sailors implored him for safe passage. Even warriors invoked him before battle. Poseidon's influence was undeniable, but Zeus's power went unmatched. He was a better king, a stronger leader, and a more influential deity. But that doesn't mean Poseidon was weak. Both gods shaped ancient civilization, and their rivalry will continue to inspire artists for generations to come. Their symbols reflected their essence, sky and sea in constant tension. They shared power, but they didn't share goals or methods. Zeus believed in ruling with justice. Poseidon believed in might makes right. If Poseidon found himself in a bad spot, Zeus was usually to blame. Maybe that's because Zeus was just a bit temperamental. He wasn't evil, exactly, but he wasn't always fair either. He had a history of getting himself into trouble with his many loves, both goddesses and mortals. Poseidon, on the other hand, didn't deal well with slights. One time, Poseidon visited the island of Delos, where he was supposed to be honored with a temple, but the people refused to let him build it there, so he flooded their island. He wasn't above petty revenge, which is what happened when he punished King Midas for giving him less wine than he deserved, or when he turned King Lysippus into a frog for insulting him. So while Zeus may have had a troubled personal life, Poseidon was reckless in his anger. He was wild as the sea, angry, vengeful, and proud. He shook the earth with his trident and drowned cities in wrath. Sometimes Zeus tried to calm him down, but that rarely worked. When Poseidon cursed Odysseus for blinding his son, Zeus intervened to stop the hero's suffering. But even he was only partially successful. Poseidon held Odysseus captive for 9 years, causing him to lose his kingdom and his friends. Zeus claimed the skies and storms. Poseidon ruled the oceans and earthquakes. But being second-born, Poseidon's power was often overshadowed, and that planted seeds of rivalry. Most of the time, the other gods preferred to stay out of the conflicts between the two brothers, especially when Hera, Zeus's wife, joined the fray. But Poseidon had his strengths too. For example, he wasn't afraid to go against Zeus. Not every god could pull that off, and he had the support of some major players. Demeter, goddess of harvest, was his sister, and she helped him out of gratitude for his help in freeing her from the underworld. Hades, too, sided with Poseidon against Zeus. So yeah, while Zeus had the respect of most of the Olympian gods, Poseidon commanded loyalty and obedience. Some say Poseidon had the edge because he wasn't afraid to speak his mind. While Zeus understood justice, Poseidon embodied freedom. Today we dive into one of mythology's most epic rivalries, Zeus vs Poseidon, where myth meets historical belief. Born of the Titans Cronus and Rhea, he was swallowed whole by his father, only to be rescued and hurled back by his big brother Zeus. Thus beginning the Together, the siblings fought against their monstrous kin, freeing the other Olympians and establishing their rule. When the dust settled, it was decided that the cosmos would be divided between them. Zeus got the skies and all their wonders. Poseidon got the seas and everything beneath them. Hades, youngest of them all, got the underworld. And so the earth was left for mortals. It was a good division. The brothers were happy. But then Poseidon began to simmer. Why should Zeus get everything good and leave him with water? He could do nothing about the division. But he could exact revenge on anyone Zeus cared about. That led to a few problems. Let's explore who truly ruled ancient power. Poseidon said Zeus wasn't working hard enough, so the god of the sky conjured a terrible storm to teach his brother a lesson. The rain fell for 5 years straight until Poseidon calmed the waters. This was the start of a pattern in their relationship. Zeus always retaliated against Poseidon's schemes, whether it was punishing his lovers or punishing his lovers. Poseidon wasn't very faithful. Once he created a horse and sent it to a farmer, who immediately sacrificed it to Zeus, so Zeus made horses everywhere go blind. Then Poseidon took revenge on the whole human race. Poseidon, no doubt jealous of Zeus's position as supreme leader of the gods, also tried to take over Olympus. In Homeric hymn number 3 to Poseidon, it says he conspired with Hera and Athena to seduce the king of gods, then trap him in a jar, but that plot failed, and as punishment, he was imprisoned in a cave on a far-off island for 5 years. But Zeus still couldn't let it go. He unleashed an eagle to harass Poseidon, who spent his time creating earthquakes. So they were always at odds. Even during important events like the Trojan War, Poseidon backed the Greeks and was furious when Zeus sided with the Trojans. He even briefly imprisoned his brother after he killed the Trojan prince. But when Troy finally fell, Poseidon helped rebuild the city, showing his mercy. Before we start our countdown, remember to hit like and subscribe. Poseidon may have been second in birth, but he was far from second best. One time, Zeus and Poseidon were building a wall to keep the sea from flooding the land when they argued. Now, you might be asking yourself why Zeus was so willing to fight his own brother. Well, here's the thing, which brings us to another question. Which god was more respected? Now, you might think that Zeus had the upper hand, since he was considered supreme leader of the gods, and he did. When you look at their influence on humans, though, it's clear who was more important. We know that Poseidon was worshipped as a local lord, a protector of particular places. Today, Poseidon's legacy lives on in sculptures, churches, and fountains. So the question is, which god do you think had more power? The king of the skies or the god of the oceans?